The U.S. Air Force is developing the nuclear-capable long-range strike stealth bomber B-21 Raider. In today's video, we'll show you how the U.S. stealth bomber stunned the entire world. So watch the video all the way through and subscribe for more. Let's start our video. Northrop Grumman is developing the B-21 Raider for the United States Air Force as a penetrating attack, next-generation stealth bomber. It will serve as the foundation for the USAF's future bomber fleet and will be an important component of the country's three-pronged nuclear trident strategy to maintain deterrence. The bomber capable of a nuclear explosion was named B-21 Raider in honor of the Doolittle Raiders, members of the U.S. Army Air Force, who launched 16 B-25 bombers from the flight deck of the USS Hornet in April 1942 in a surprise attack that forced Japan to withdraw its combat forces for home defense. The designation B-21 also refers to the aircraft as the first bomber of the 21st century. The plane is being built at Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, where Northrop Grumman has facilities. The first 6 aircraft were in various stages of construction and testing as of May 2022. Ground testing for the B-21 aircraft's initial load calibration test was completed in May 2022. Before the anticipated first flight in 2023, testing will include structural integrity checks and instrument calibration. Whiteman AFB, Ellsworth AFB, and Dyess Air Force Base in Texas were the preferred main operating bases for the B-21 fleet. Ellsworth AFB was formally selected as the initial major operational base for the B-21 aircraft. According to budget documents, the B-21's manufacturing costs will be around $20 billion through 2027. Senator John Thune of South Dakota spoke on the Senate floor on Wednesday, knowing that 6 B-21s are being developed. He emphasized the significance of Congress passing the annual defense spending bill, which includes construction projects for Ellsworth to support the aircraft's mission. The South Dakota Republican is pushing for more funding to deal with the increased number of service members stationed nearby as a result of the new B-21. I fought to include an extension of an ability for the Secretary of Defense to revise basic allowance for housing rates if an installation sees a sudden increase in the number of service personnel stationed there, Thune said of this year's NDAA. This will provide Ellsworth families with the resources they need to find suitable housing. The B-21 Raider's open systems architecture allows the modern bomber to remain effective even in the face of evolving threats. According to Air Force officials, the design of the B-21 Raider could quickly incorporate cutting-edge and established technologies. The B-21 Raider is a powerful illustration of the nation's extensive experience in implementing cutting-edge military technologies with an effective, adaptive, and innovative industrial foundation, according to Andrew Hunter, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology and Logistics. The goal. The B-21 Raider, formerly known as the LRS-B Long-Range Strike Bomber, is intended to replace the majority of the American bomber fleet and provide long-range penetration capability for the 21st century. The current USAF strategic fleet is an unusual jumble of 3 Cold War aircraft. The B-52 Stratofortress has served the USAF since the 1950s, and all indications are that it will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. The B-1B Lancer from the 1970s no longer has a nuclear mission, but it is still operational in a conventional role. B-1B aircraft saw extensive use during the War on Terror. Finally, the final 20 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers have been in service since the 1990s. Although variety is the flavor of any Air Force, the combination of the roughly 3 Cold War heritage platforms leaves much to be desired. For example, while the B-52 is an excellent aircraft, there are some missions, such as a deep strike, that it simply cannot perform at the moment. The B-1B Force can be used for conventional missions and performs admirably in that capacity with the right improvements, but the entire fleet is getting older and more expensive. Similarly, due to their stealth qualities and small fleet size, the B-2s are extremely expensive to maintain, driving up training, parts, and maintainer costs. B-21 is inspired by B-2. Thus, the Raider is a bomber in the shape of a bat, similar to the B-2. Northrop Grumman's offer promised a design that would incorporate as much mature technology as possible in order to avoid the cost overruns and component issues that have plagued nearly every previous stealth aircraft in service. The B-21 borrows heavily from the B-2 in terms of appearance, mission, and other critical components. Despite being smaller than the Spirit, the Raider had half the weapon payload and a similar predicted subsonic speed. Although an unmanned mission profile would never have been appropriate for the nuclear mission, the B-21's initial blueprints allowed for it. The Air Force expects to receive at least 100 Raiders, with an additional 100 aircraft possible depending on demand and project development. B21 Advancement. All indications are that the B21 projects are progressing surprisingly, if not startlingly, smoothly, at least for the time being. The Raider is expected to fly for the first time in 2023. According to a recent Bloomberg report, the B-21 is currently operating within its budget, which is an extremely unusual situation for a cutting-edge aircraft project. Nonetheless, there don't appear to be many doubters, either within or outside the Air Force, that the B-21 will meet or come close to meeting its objectives. It's difficult to recall any Pentagon project that has performed as well as the Raider has, let alone a highly sophisticated stealth bomber project. Nonetheless, Northrop Grumman's extensive, difficult experience with the B-2, a project that experienced virtually every disaster a major Pentagon project could encounter, including a classic procurement death spiral, helped inform the B-21 bid and ensured that many errors could be avoided, helped shape the proposal. It's a good idea to be cautious. There is far too much complexity and room for error. Despite Northrop Grumman's efforts to reduce the number of potential faults by using mature components, the project may require changes due to rapidly evolving technological and strategic settings, which may result in time and cost overruns. In July 2016, the United States Air Force stated that it would not disclose the estimated cost of the B-21 deal with Northrop Grumman, because doing so would provide prospective adversaries with too much information about the project. The U.S. Senate Committee on Armed Services decided not to publicly disclose the program's cost, despite the objections of a bipartisan group of lawmakers led by the committee's chairman, Senator John McCain of Arizona, and instead restricted the information to legislative defense committees. Senator McCain's proposed amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act for FY 2017 would have reduced the B-21 program's authorization by $302 million due to a lower-than-expected contract award value, while imposing strict program baseline and cost control thresholds and quarterly program performance requirements. The final assembly of the B-21 is expected to take place at the U.S. Air Force Plant 42, which is located near Palmdale, California, and was previously used for Northrop B-2 production in the 1980s and 90s. Northrop Grumman was also awarded a $35.8 million contract modification for a large coatings plant that would be completed in 2019. While Northrop would not explicitly state that the B-21 would be built at Plant 42, executives were all but winking and nodding at the prospect, according to journalists touring the facility. Due to the program's classified nature, very little information has been disclosed. However, by the summer of 2019, it was claimed that the first unit's construction was already underway. As the first B-21's completion date approached in early 2021, a number of media outlets reported that work on the second unit had begun. On September 19, 2016, at the Air Force Association meeting, Richard E. Cole, the last surviving Doolittle Raider, and Air Force Secretary Deborah Lee James revealed the name of the B-21. On September 19, 2016, the B-21 was officially renamed Raider in honor of the Doolittle Raiders. Software. Kubernetes, an open-source platform for automating containerized application deployment, scaling, and management, is used in the B-21 initiative. The USAF's B-21 team used Kubernetes and containerized software on flight-ready hardware in 2020. Contractor parties. Among the major subcontractors working on the B-21 program are Pratt & Whitney, a Raytheon Technologies subsidiary, BAE Systems, GKN Aerospace, Janicki Industries, Orbital ATK, Rockwell Collins, a division of Collins Aerospace, and Spirit Aerosystems. Stealth capabilities. The B-21's stealth characteristics will be provided by next-generation radar-absorbent materials. Furthermore, because of its powerful processing capabilities, it can quickly process data from internal and external sensors to identify threats. To reduce the likelihood of being intercepted, it will have minimal aircraft signatures in several frequency bands. Furthermore, because of their improved capabilities, the B-21 bombers should be able to breach existing and potential weak points in defenses. What do you think about this bomber? Comment your thought below. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching.